Hello there and welcome to my channel. On this channel you will find all the necessary information to operate CNC routers, milling machines, lathes, even modifying a manual machine to CNC machine. Also I can introduce you to lasers and how to operate those, and wood turning, how to make bowls, and in particular this video I will be showing you how I make, and actually you can purchase them. I make 2,000-year-old wood pens. Yes, 2,000 years old. The wood is 2,000 years old. It's Huon pine grown in southern Tasmania. Tasmania is quite a large island off the southern coast of Australia, which is just one of the states of Australia. I did put this video up about a month ago, but I've had to remaster it because it did have a couple of problems, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll hand you over now to my counterpart, who is going to show you how to make a 2,000-year-old pen. Incidentally, at the end of this video, in the credits and below this video, you will find a discount code for Carveco. Carveco is one of the premium CAM programs that you use with CNC routers and milling machines, and you will get a 5% discount if you use my code. So I'll just hand you now to my counterpart, and he'll show you how to make a 2,000-year-old pen, and details for purchasing also will be at the end of the video and below the video in the credits and above the comments. So I'll see you a bit later. Hello and welcome again to my workshop. Now today we're going to do something extra special. I'm going to show you how to make a product. In actual fact, I'm going to show you how I'm making a product that I'll have up for sale. So here it is. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pen, a wooden pen. Rather special wood pens. This one is between 1,500 and 2,000 year old wood, which is Huon pine, and this one is Blackwood. So this is for my wife's friend, and this one's for my wife. So at the end of the video I will give you details on pricing and how to purchase. Okay, to make our pen we're going to need some specialized equipment. First of all, you need a pen kit. Now I'll show you, I'll come around that side to show you a little better. And it also contains the ink refill and the drive mechanism there, and the two brass tubes. Now they're needed, the brass tube inserts that go inside the wood. So there's that. You also need, now this is a pen, what they call a pen mandrel. So this fits into the lathe, and you slide your pieces of wood on here, which I'll come to later and describe in more detail. Tighten it up, and that's how you hold it in the lathe. And you also will need a pen blank mill. Alright, now this cleans the end of the material up and makes it very flat, and I'll show you how to operate this and actually how to adjust this correctly, because I haven't seen a wood turner that actually explains how and why yet, so I'll do it. Okay, so that's the mill. So I'm actually going to make two pens today, one for my wife and one for her best friend, and the materials I'm going to be using are quite exotic. This material, this is Blackwood, but this is more than 50 years old, and I'm going to use or choose the tight grain pattern here. My wife prefers a darker tightly grained packed wood rather than the lighter part of the wood. And her friend likes Huon pine. Now this is a piece of Huon pine and it's been reclaimed, so it could be, I can tell you that the tree it came off was more than 1,000 years old, and it was probably, I don't know, more than 100 years ago cut, possibly. So, and there's some beautiful grain pattern in this, and I can't really show you on this, but I'll show you as the turning goes on how closely packed the grain is. You can see some of the grain pattern here, I think. Yeah, you can see some of the grain pattern here, if that's not too bright. But normally with Huon pine there's approximately 10 growth rings per millimeter or more, and it's very, very long-lived wood. So I'll go and prepare this now, which means I'm just going to cut square strips of 3/4 of an inch square, or 19 millimeters, and then I'll come back to you and tell you what we're going to do. Okay, so we have two rough sawn pieces of material at 3/4 of an inch square, or 19 millimeter. So now what we need to do is draw a pencil line down the center of each piece, and then mark where we want to cut it in half. Now that serves a number of purposes. The line down the center is so that when we put the two pieces then onto the mandrel, we can line the grain pattern up and then machine it perfectly. So then when the pen goes together, the grain pattern all matches up. And obviously the second cut, we need to know where to cut it. So we end up with two equal lengths. Now, to make it easier for you to sort of judge the center, just put a rule across corner to corner and just put a pencil line there, give you the rough center, and then you'll be able to line the drill up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a process called Pec drilling, because if you try and push this drill all the way through this piece of wood without clearing the swarf that's built up on the end of the drill, you know, you could well ruin the job or burn it or something like that. So we're going to plunge a drill in about 5 mil, bring it out, another 5 mil, bring it out, and so on and so forth till we go all the way through. So next you'll need some super glue, or CA glue, and you get your little brass inserts and just lightly scuff the outside of them like so. Now this is done to allow the glue to get attached to the brass. Doesn't have any problem with the wood material itself, but just so it gets some sort of anchor on the brass insert. That's all you need to do. So what you need to do then is just put a few drops like so, and then insert it into your block of wood. Turn in as you put it in and make sure it goes all the way. I'm going to show you how to set up the little milling device. That's what this is. Now what that does is it takes the excess material off here and takes it right the way down to the brass insert. Now the trick is to take the material off down to the brass insert without machining the brass insert away, because it's a set length. Now what you do, now this is the shank, okay, that comes with a little kit. The little kit's about $25, something like that, and you can buy them on eBay. So this slides on one end or the other. Now this, what you do, you get your brass insert, see, and it goes down so far, because there's a little lip there. Okay, so what you do, you set this so it just touches where that lip is, and that's where you do it up. So this will go down and machine down as far as that lip only, and not grind its way into the brass. So that's how you, whoop, I can hold it still there. So that's what you do, you adjust it to that lip there, just there. There's a little flat on there, okay, that grub screw screws down onto. So we'll do that right now. See if I can do this in front of the camera. Nice and firm. If you can sort of, you can see there, if I can take that up to the camera, if it'll, okay, you can turn this around, it's not catching the end of those teeth yet, it's right up flush to it. Okay, so that's the correct adjustment for this little mill. A milling tool is a tool with teeth like this here that cuts on a flat. Okay, so that's regarded as a milling tool. Okay, it's been about 30 to 40 minutes since I done the gluing up here, which should be quite sufficient. So I'm going to show you now what to do with the mill. So you just get it into a pretty standard, fairly good cordless drill. Pop it down in through there like that. That's all you need to do, is just take the waste material away and it'll just shine the end of the brass. So that's all you do. So it's just shined the end of the brass. So that's taken down the material down to a perfect fit. Okay, so this, as I've said before, is a pen mandrel. A mandrel is a piece of equipment that will hold something for you in a certain orientation, or it will hold something for you to machine. In this case, that's what it's doing. Now, it has a very small collet chuck on the end here, which holds this steel shaft, and on this end there is a number 2 Morse taper. Now, normally a lathe will have a number 2 Morse taper up in the headstock and the tailstock. So what you do, just simply put it in there like that, slide it in, and it's a taper to taper fit that holds it. Okay, so the next thing to do is undo the brass knurled nut, take it off, and these are spacers or ferrules. So what I do is my own preference. I leave 2 on there, and then I get my wood. Now this is where I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you determine, looking at your material, okay, you see the grain lines up really nice there. So we know that one goes on first there. Turn it around to our line. Then I put 1 ferrule or spacer in the middle to separate the 2. Then my other piece here. Okay. They're slightly out of line, but that doesn't matter because we're going to machine quite a bit down. Then the other 2 ferrules on, or spacers on this end, and then we get our knurled nut. Screw it up firm, not too tight, nice and firm. And then we bring the tailstock up. Lock it down. Screw it up firm. So now we have our pieces of material now set up in our lathe for machining. Now, so you get your tool rest. Now in this case, I set my tool rest approximately about 1/2 inch, so you can get your finger down between there. Don't do that when the lathe is running. I'm just doing that to show you the type of gap. Okay, and it's that's slightly too high. Okay, so what I do is I set my tool rest, so when you rest the chisel on the tool rest and present it to the center of the lathe spindle or whatever's on the lathe, the cut-in edge there is right on center. Some people like it lower than that, but I have found that is the best position to have it. So now we finally get to do some turning. Now we've got this set up on here. Now, something this small, you need to have your lathe spinning around about 2,500 RPM. So that way, the job goes fairly quickly, and you get a nice smooth result. So here we go, and I'm started with my small spindle gouge. That's actually 3,000 RPM thereabouts. So here we go. Very, very small light cuts. You don't want to be in a hurry with it, just very, very small light cuts. So I've taken down the material so far, and I've got now 3/4 of an inch gap here. So what I'm going to do is just move the tool rest in slightly. That's my German Shepherd pup out there having a little bit of a bark at the neighbour. So now we'll continue with a different tool, which is a round nose scraper. And we'll take these down to our near finished product. So these are the other parts of the pen. What is necessary to do now is put the nib into the end of here. That is achieved by, now you can use a vise, something like that, but I tend to use an Irwin clamp. Just got to get it in straight. Hold it straight as you can. Squeeze it in. You seeing that? All the way to the end. You don't need any real elaborate equipment to do that. And the next thing is to put the mechanism into this end. Now what you do, you push this in to get to that collar. So it's just a light press fit. It's only a pen after all. Ease it in quietly. Very gently. That's it, until we get to that collar. Okay. Next thing to go in is your refill. So that's screw thread in. Make sure the mechanism works, and it does. So then we get a cap. The one I forget sometimes is putting this ferrule on. So put that ferrule on. Now if you notice this, actually engraved as well with Australia, can you see that? This is a special one for my wife. So that goes on there, and that goes... No, sorry, this is for my wife's friend. Let's get it all lined up. Dac to dac. And squeeze that in to trap the pocket clip. Then line up and there we have our finished pen. See the motion? With between 1500 and 2000-year-old wood. Huon pine. Very special Australian pen. So here's the finished product. Here's one Huon pine, up to 2,000-year-old wood. And this one, I especially made for my wife, which I think would also be good for people with arthritis, with a nub here to actually hold more firmly. And that's Blackwood, Australian Blackwood. And just to let you know, I've had a lot of people write in asking to buy products that I'm making, like bowls and things like that. Well, it's very difficult to send a bowl overseas. It's much easier actually for me to make and send items like this overseas to America or England, things like that, because the postage for something like this is about 8 to 10 Australian dollars, and it makes it more cost efficient. You know, I don't think people would like, you know, sort of $250 dollars postage for a bowl. It gets into the ridiculous stage. So anyway, these pens will be on sale, and the Huon pine, now bear in mind this is very unique wood, very long lived, and I get my wood from fallen limbs and dead trees, ones that are wind blown down. I do not cut trees down. Let's get this straight. So this particular piece of wood is between 1,500 and 2,000 years old. It's very, very long lived. So obviously this is a high value premium wood. The price of this one will be around about $45 US. So I hope you've liked the making of these pens today, and if you have, please subscribe, press like, and I hope to see you again on one of my videos. And at this stage I would like to thank my patrons, because it is the patrons behind this channel that keep it going as it does today. So all I've got to say now is bye for now.